E salve a tutti ragazzi e bentornati sul canale. Rieccoci con The Raven Remastered. Riprendiamo da dove ci siamo lasciati, ovvero siamo arrivati al Cairo e dobbiamo esaminare il museo. Pare che il Corvo, il famoso ladro Corvo, l'abbiamo preso, ma qualcosa ci dice che in realtà non è lui, visto che il gioco è ancora lungo e quindi sicuramente era un'esca. Ora bisogna capire che collegamento aveva il dottore con il Corvo. Allora, vediamo un po'. Miss Miller sta qua, parliamo con lei, vediamo un po'.
Miss Miller, I'm glad to see you here.
Oh, Constable Zellner. I heard what happened to you on board. Awful, truly awful.
All's well that ends well. You are waiting for Professor Lucien?
Mm-hmm.
Crocina sul... Ah sì, questa è la mamma del ragazzino che se la stava facendo sul ponte col professore. Comunque, visitato.
Are there other passengers from the ship here?
Oh, yes, we arrived as a group. David Kreutzer, the violinist, was with us. So were Miss Myers and Mr. Inch. He seems to have gotten over the death of the Baroness pretty quickly. He seems positively relaxed.
I've met him. He looks on the bright side of life, so to speak. Where is Mr. Kreutzer?
He's over in the treasure chamber. Maddie is downstairs in the main hall. I'm afraid I'll hear the sound of something priceless shattering any second.
Matt will be careful, Miss Miller.
Crocina sul Nilo.
Tomorrow you'll be sailing down the Nile, if I heard correctly.
That's right. I'm sure it will be an amazing experience.
But you don't seem to be very excited.
Oh, but I am. It's very generous of Lady Westmacott to invite me, and especially Maddie. He'll learn a lot.
But?
Well, Professor Lucien offered to join us.
Then Matt will learn even more. And I'm sure it won't be unpleasant for you either.
No, I just don't know how Maddie would react if Edgar came with us.
I understand. I could test the water to see how he'd feel about it.
Would you do that? Oh, thank you, Constable Zellner.
Oddio, il professor Lucien, non lo so. Abbiamo detto che all'inizio del gioco sembrava un po' pure lui che nascondeva qualcosa. Però, non lo so, ci vogliamo fidare ragazzi. Vediamo lei cosa ne pensa comunque.
Were you able to find out why Professor Lucien left the forecastle so suddenly last night?
No, not really. We only had a brief conversation. He was still very nervous.
He was like that on the train as well. Seems to be typical of him.
It must be something to do with the burglary at the museum. It really affected him. But he told me not to worry about anything. He said, soon this would all be over.
Really? How did he mean that?
Oh, I didn't ask him, Constable.
I'll continue my tour of the museum.
Oh, yes, there's so much to see.
Ma entra nel gruppo di guardia. Vabbè, sì, diamo un'occhiata pure qua dentro. Siamo degli agenti di polizia pure noi, quindi teoricamente
Locked.
è chiuso. Vai nella sala principale. Allora, c'è da esaminare qualche cosa qui? Sì. Allora, cominciamo. Sarcofagi no. Qua. Le daghe.
Several daggers in a row. Their shapes and patterns look timeless, elegant. What does it say here? The dagger on the left is a replica of the dagger from the tomb of Tutankhamun. It must have been incredibly precious during his lifetime because it's made of iron. Thousands of years before the Ice Age, meteorites were the only source of pure iron. So a star that fell from the sky, bringing a substance that's harder than anything they'd known before, would have been a dramatic event. No wonder they used it to forge a weapon for the godlike pharaoh.
Parla... Ah, mica l'avevo vista di Tresco. Però aspetta, prima di parlare con la signora, esaminiamo qua le altre cose.
Aha! This shows how the ancient Egyptians were able to move the heavy blocks of stone to build their pyramids and temples. They used ropes, wooden sleds, and poles as levers. These exhibits aren't originals, of course. They're reconstructed, based on old pictures. Nonetheless, it's impressive how they managed to build monuments like the pyramids with such simple tools.
Poi, la statua qui. Arrivo, signore, arrivo, eh.
A figure of Imhotep, who comes in peace from around 2700 BC. The first polymath known by name, godfather of medicine, architect of the first pyramids, and according to legend, the inventor of Egyptian writing. He certainly achieved more than me in his life. He was a legend. The Greeks called him a god. The Romans still honored him 3,000 years after his death. Even today, scholars offer a drop of ink to Imhotep when they begin a new project. Really impressive. This is Akhenaten, the only pharaoh whose portrait I always recognize. He has a very unusual head. Akhenaten was the husband of Nefertiti and the father of Tutankhamen, a famous family. But he went down in history as the pharaoh who wanted to eliminate the old gods and replace them with a single god. The priests took offense, and he died of unknown causes.
Ma non credo che comunque esaminare queste cose mi dia qualcosa. Vabbè, senti, parliamo con la signora. Cioè, non credo siano irrilevanti.
Impressive, isn't it? Thousands of years old and still beautiful.
That it is. They dug it out of the sand near Thebes over 50 years ago. I was there.
Really?
I met my husband there. He was an assistant on the dig and was ordered by the director of the excavation to take care of that writer. I financed many excavations in the following years, here in Egypt and in the Near East. I visited my husband, together with our son. It was the best time of my life. But a museum is no place for nostalgia. What can I do for you?
Ah, quindi aveva un figlio. Chiediamo, suo figlio.
Your son. You haven't said much about him. Or perhaps you did, just not by name.
You're an attentive listener, Mr. Zellner.
I was wondering why you knew so much about Miss Miller's unhappy marriage.
I stopped paying his bar tabs. Stopped paying reporters to hush things up. He got to know her and went with her to America to start a new life. You can change your name easily, but not who you really are. He has my eyes, doesn't he?
The Part 2 novel is for him, isn't it?
If I couldn't provide Matthew with a good father, then at least I can provide him with a good start in life.
Beh, però vedi, comunque è brava questa signora. Quindi ci tiene comunque al ragazzino. Tra l'altro è appena arrivato, quindi andiamo a parlare anche con lui. Indagini, vabbè. Iniziamo dall'inizio. Vita soddisfacente.
You've had a long and successful life, Lady Westmacott.
What's that supposed to mean, Mr. Zellner? That I should be ready to leave the stage? Because I'm not.
Oh, I didn't want...
I'm here because life is here, Constable. Or was. I have never lived as much as I have here. No fame, no money can buy that.
I understand.
I'm sorry, Constable Zellner. Such an outburst isn't fitting for a woman of my age. And an English woman at that. Let's talk about something else.
Indagini per omicidio. Anzi no, il gala.
Will you attend the gala tonight, Lady Westmacott?
But of course. The antiquities, the delightful atmosphere. And who knows? Perhaps there will be another spectacular burglary.
And your cruise?
The ship doesn't leave until tomorrow. And believe me, I'd cancel the cruise for this.
Cioè, sembra quasi euforica questa per il furto. Indagini per omicidio.
When I was working on the ship, I felt like one of the detectives in your novels.
You were lucky. It was an unusual murder. Most murders happen in the heat of the moment or are committed by idiots. They're uninspired. But Gebhardt thought it through. He could have succeeded.
I don't know. He made too many mistakes.
He couldn't have known that the Baroness, almost unconscious from the drugs, would lock her cabin door.
But that was a risk. The plan was too complicated and sloppily executed.
You certainly are a harsh critic, Mr. Zellner.
He could have shot her on the side deck and thrown the weapon into the sea. With no witnesses, no one would have suspected him.
How boring.
Or if it had to be a complicated plan, then he should have worked more carefully. Should have thought of everything, had a plan B in place.
Maybe he didn't have enough time. He had only a few hours to plan and commit the murder.
Still, he should have covered his tracks more carefully. The audio tape, the bloody glove, none of that should have stayed in the medical center.
Il Corvo e il dottore Gebhardt. Dottore Gebhardt.
Do you think that Dr. Gebhardt was the Raven?
Was? Do you think he's dead?
The letter sounded like he committed suicide.
There's your answer. Does that sound like the Raven? Being unmasked? Taking the easy way out?
My sentiments exactly. The Raven wouldn't commit murder, get caught, and then jump into the sea.
You don't want everything to be over, do you?
It's my chance to do something great. It can't be over yet.
At least you solved the murder of the Baroness. You're a hero.
That's not how the newspapers see it. Nor I. Something's missing. I can achieve more.
Careful, Constable. He who flies too close to the sun.
Is that the myth of Icarus?
To be honest, no. The story is Greek, and was only written down 1,000 years later. I was counting on the dramatic effect.
Oh, worked well enough.
Che poi, tra l'altro, presumiamo che il dottore si sia suicidato, ma in realtà il corpo non è stato trovato, quindi chi lo sa se è morto veramente? Il Corvo.
Let's assume that the thief is still out there. Who is he?
If all this were a novel, then it would be the one you least expect.
Is that intended to be a confession, Lady Westmacott?
What do we know about the new Raven?
He's a man who would stop at nothing.
Must it be a man? And how do we know that it's just one person? There could be several people collectively pretending to be the Raven.
So, we don't know anything.
That's not completely true. We know that he or she wants the eye of the Sphinx, and will probably strike here, assuming he or she hasn't already gone.
It may be the end of the story for me, Lady Westmacott. Inspector Legrand will arrive soon and send me to the hotel. I'll return tonight for the gala, hoping all the while that the Raven does dare to attempt a burglary. Tomorrow morning, I'll have to return to Switzerland. What an unsatisfactory ending that would be.
It wouldn't be a triumphant ending, but it could be worse. At least you'd still be alive, Constable.
As always, it was an entertaining and enlightening chat, Lady Westmacott.
I'm going to miss our little chats, Constable Zellner. Goodbye.
Insomma, comunque qua sono tutti euforici perché tutti che sperano che il Corvo si faccia vivo. Allora, parla con Matt.
Ahoy, Matt.
The statue was talking.
The statue was talking?
Yes.
And what did it say?
It said it was...
That's a very bad word.
I know.
And an English one. Don't you think it's odd that an old Egyptian statue speaks English?
Don't you think it's odd that a statue speaks at all?
That would have been my next question.
Vabbè, diamogli corda. Statua parlante?
And, is the statue talking to you right now?
Do you think I'm nuts?
No, of course not. I just thought you might have much better ears than me. Ears that can hear statues.
Some cop you are, Mr. Zellner. This is a mystery, and you're just making jokes.
You're right. It's just...
Don't you believe me?
Vabbè, sì, ti credo.
We both agree that a stone statue without a mouth or vocal cords cannot speak, right?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Okay. That means you heard something else. And we have to find out what or who it was.
Roger.
Crociera sul Nilo.
I'm almost a bit envious of you. Going up the Nile on a ship, it must be great.
Yeah, I guess.
You don't sound so keen.
I think my mom wants the professor to come too.
And you don't? You can't tell me.
What if Mom marries the professor and doesn't work with the lady anymore? We'd have to move to London, and I'd have to go to a new school.
Quindi lui è preoccupato. Non pensi mai a lei. Ecco, comunque come risposta non è brutta. Perché giustamente sì, però anche tua madre ha dei, diciamo, tra virgolette, dei diritti. Non pensi mai a lei?
You like your life as it is, and you don't want to change a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But have you ever thought about whether your mother is happy? The world doesn't revolve around you, you know. If you're unhappy, you have to do something. Sometimes you have to take a chance. And in that case, you need all the help you can get.
Do you mean Mom isn't happy?
I don't know. What do you think?
Eccolo il barpione.
This will all be over soon. Then I'll finally have time for you.
We wanted to head back to the hotel.
Certainly. And tonight at the gala, I'll show you around the museum, okay? And have you made up your mind about the cruise?
Well, I don't really know.
Oh, come on, Mom. Who could teach us more about Egypt than the professor?
Then it's settled.
I didn't expect you to say that.
Sì, vedi, lei lo
Well,
vuole.
Mom, sometimes you have to take a chance.
Well, who wants ice cream?
Me! Actually, Mr. Zellner still owes me some.
Ok. Adesso vediamo dove possiamo andare. Siamo andati di qua. Andiamocene da qua. Vai verso l'area posteriore. Esamina la teca.
Ancient Egyptian jewelry. I like that golden signet ring with a scarab made of jasper. In ancient Egypt, these beetles were regarded as symbols of fertility. Nowadays, we just call them dung beetles. I suppose the beetles don't really care.
Entra nella camera del tesoro.
A great moment, Professor Lucien. Your key, please.
Yes. Well,
Come on, Professor.
but you have to realize that...
Thank you.
Boh, sorpresa.
Finally. But...
Professor?
I wanted to give you this. Well, after the burglary in London, I thought the Eye might not be safe on its way to Egypt. So I secretly took it when I was supposed to place it in the safe in London.
how dare you?
I felt that I should leave the jewel to someone I trusted completely. Myself.
But the jewel was safe. From London to here, no one had an opportunity to steal it.
I beg your pardon, my dear colleague. But if that were true, I wouldn't have had it.
Congratulations, Professor Lucien. You fooled everyone, it seems. The honor is yours.
Quindi nel treno lui cercava il gioiello, non la chiave.
Well, that's that. Shall I explain the security system to you, Inspector?
The French ambassador summoned me. I have to get in touch with him. The press is besieging the embassy, and I have to answer their questions.
But you absolutely must come tonight. The opening of the exhibition will be the highlight of the year, and you are my special guest.
I will see what I can do. Zelna, will you have a look at the security precautions? We'll see each other tonight.
Of course, but
Wait, Inspector. I'll join you.
Well, here we are. The inspector will answer the reporter's questions for the next few hours. And well,
I won't take up too much of your time. I'll take a look around and then go lie down so that I'm ready for tonight.
Vabbè, scusa, ha detto puoi dare un'occhiata alle cose di sicurezza. Vabbè, qua esami, teca. Esci. Non posso parlare con questo? No. Però il sarcofago lo voglio guardare. E forse dovrei andare a...
Many people picture a stone
all'ingresso.
coffin when they hear the word sarcophagus, but this one is wooden. As usual, an ornamental representation of the deceased is painted on the outside in gold and other colors.
Dicevo all'ingresso perché là c'era tipo la guardiola. Qua sono le telecamere. Ah, sono le telecamere.
What's that? A camera?
the latest model. It's called video surveillance.
I've heard about that. The images are recorded and can be viewed again later.
That's right. Images from all 3 cameras are recorded in the guard room.
Wow.
As I've said, we've spared no effort and no expense.
E allora sì, andiamo lì alla guardiola e vediamo, forse da là posso vedere le registrazioni.
This here, the gate. How does it work?
If the alarm is set off, the metal gate descends. The same thing happens at the windows and the main entrance. The thief is trapped like a rat.
As are we.
Next, I'll show you our guard room, the heart of the whole security system. And after that, I'll have to excuse myself.
Aia.
Alert the guards. Then call the French embassy. Legrand needs to come. We're being locked out.
Ragazzi, il Corvo è sempre un passo avanti.
Here, have a seat and try to calm down.
Parla con il direttore.
Director Mokhtar? Director, how can I open the metal gate?
He shouldn't have done that.
Director,
All the artifacts in the treasure chamber. He destroyed them.
and I will bring him to justice. But first, I have to get inside.
Niente, non mi dà soddisfazione. Andiamo qua nella guardiola, vediamo se si riesce a fare qualcosa. Prima era chiusa però, perché abbiamo controllato. Ah no, è aperto, ok.
Constable Oliver!
Don't move.
Madonna, che rompi i coglioni tu con sta pistola. Arma.
Put the pistol away.
Oh, you'd like that, wouldn't you?
Robert, be sensible.
Shut it.
Cioè, stai scherzando? Mi stai puntando la pistola.
What did you do?
I didn't do anything. But I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna arrest you.
Legrand.
Why aren't you in the embassy with Inspector Legrand talking to the press?
What are you talking about? Legrand refused to do it.
What?
He told the ambassador that he'd rather walk through the desert for 40 years than give interviews for 40 minutes.
Guardia.
Is he dead?
Just unconscious. Perhaps he can tell us who knocked him out.
Excellent.
Don't act all innocent. It was you.
I was in the treasure chamber with the director. You, on the other hand, had every opportunity to take the guard out.
I found him unconscious. I wanted to open the gates.
And make it easier for the raven to escape?
That does it. On the floor. Hands behind your head.
Certo che qua veramente ti viene da sospettare di tutte le persone. Camera del tesoro.
We have to open the treasure chamber's gate. I suspect there's a secret entrance.
No. We should open the main entrance and call for help.
Robert, think. The raven is inside the museum, and so are we. We could catch him, but we have to give chase immediately. The two of us can finish it here and now.
You just want to confuse me.
Robert, I don't think you knocked this man out, but neither did I. I was with the director the entire time. Ask him.
That doesn't mean you aren't involved somehow. You could be working with the Raven.
So could you. We can suspect each other, open the exits, and offer the Raven every possible escape route. Or we can bring him to justice right here, right now.
No, okay. But just get this straight. I don't trust you. I'll keep an eye on you, and if you try to get away...
Understood. I'll try to open the gate to the treasure chamber now. I'd appreciate it if you'd refrain from accidentally shooting me.
No tricks, Zelna. And if we don't find anything in the treasure chamber, we'll open the gate at the main entrance and call Inspector Legrand.
Of course.
Certo, se ci pensate dal punto di vista degli altri, anche il nostro agente Zelmer potrebbe essere in combutta col Corvo, perché comunque è un po' come il signore in giallo lui. Dove sta lui stanno i morti, stanno le cose. Allora, esamina i dispositivi.
A monitor, probably for viewing the security cameras. There are 5 buttons down here, 3 of them labeled. Camera 1, Camera 2, Camera 3. This should be the one in the treasure chamber. As I expected, it didn't survive the explosion. All right, how do I... Fantastic. That's me, with the director. Now it's getting exciting. What on earth?
You damaged it.
No, I didn't. Someone must have turned the camera off. Or... No, it's still recording, but something's covering the lens. There. That was the explosion. Interesting.
Why is it interesting?
Someone was in the treasure chamber, and they disabled the camera.
And?
And, just a few minutes later, the alarm went off and everything blew up. The burglar hardly had time to prepare a targeted explosion, right? One more reason to go and see what happened in the treasure chamber.
Il problema però è aprire quella cacchio di camera. Qui non posso fare niente. Macchia del caffè. Guardia. Guarda l'agente Oliver. Custode di metallo. Chiede aiuto. Magari proviamo a chiedere aiuto.
Dead.
E te pareva. Esamina il telefono.
We can't call for help. The line's dead. Does the alarm system call the police automatically? If not, or if it was also disconnected, I'm not sure that anyone out there knows what's happening inside the museum. I guess no one heard the explosion from outside. The treasure chamber doesn't have any windows, and the metal gates that came down could just be part of a test.
Proviamo a vedere la guardia.
What are you doing?
I was looking for this.
Che abbiamo preso? Portachiavi. Portachiavi forse per aprire questa?
Locked.
Ok, allora chiavi. Vai, apri. Esamina la scatola di controllo.
Blueprints for the museum. Every gate seems to be controlled by its own switch. This should be the gate for the treasure chamber.
Olè. Dovremmo averla aperta.
That's it.
E mo? Usciamo, andiamo a vedere.
Where do you think you're going?
I'm searching for a way into the treasure chamber, which is exactly what you should be doing.
I'll give you 5 minutes. Then we'll follow my plan. Open the main entrance and call for backup.
Let's hope for both our sakes that I find a way into the treasure chamber before then. I don't want to be responsible for the escape of the Raven.
Però in realtà è ancora chiuso. Proviamo a esaminare.
If you would be so kind.
Non alzeremo mai sto sorto di portone.
No, that won't work.
I could have told you that.
Devo trovare qualcosa, forse per sollevare.
The explosion wasn't strong enough to seriously damage the gate, but maybe it's a bit warped. At any rate, it won't open.
Vabbè, proviamo a vedere se troviamo qualcosa. Vai verso l'area anteriore. Apri la vetrinetta. Sì. Ok, l'unica azione possibile. Cioè, non mi dire che adesso dobbiamo usare qualcosa di antico per aprire la porta. È vero che ormai molte cose sono state distrutte, quindi tanto vale. Aspetta, le chiavi.
It fits.
Ah, forse la mazza qua. Prendi il palo di legno. La classica leva di Archimede. Forza il portone.
Constable? It's moving. No, not quite there yet.
E che pizza. E che altro posso fare? Vediamo, fatemi pensare. Vabbè, provo a rifarmi un giro, vediamo se trovo qualcos'altro. Perché qua non vedo niente. Aspetta. L'asta della bandiera. Vabbè, ma se non ce l'ho fatto col bastone, vuoi che ce la faccio con l'asta? Proviamo.
That might help.
Ah, forse aspettate. A meno che in due. Io col bastone e l'agente Zelmer con quello. Proviamo da solo.
All right. It has to work. Constable Oliver, could you lend me a hand?
Ah, ok, forse sì, in due. Lui prende questa. Vedi? Ok.
On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Ok.
Director Mokhtar, hurry! Put something under the gate.
Sì, Cuso sta a dormendo. Bene, guagliò, più veloce.
No luck.
It won't open any further.
E piegalo, no?
Put it down, quick!
Quanto era stupido.
I wouldn't bet on it. We should hurry.
And inform Inspector Legrand.
First, I'll get an overview of the situation.
You don't think I'm going to leave you all alone with a jewel, do you?
I doubt that the jewel is still in the treasure chamber.
But how?
I'll be watching you.
Then you'll have to come with me.
If you haven't heard anything from me in 5 minutes, me, not Constable Zellner, then open the entrance and call for help. Understood?
Okay.
Allora ragazzi, io mi fermerei qui per questo episodio.
Wow, indeed.
Guarda che... Ah, vedi, da sotto è entrato. Esamina il buco. Va bene, allora, io mi fermo qui per questo episodio. Voi mi raccomando, come sempre, fatemi sapere cosa ne pensate. Iscrivetevi al canale se ancora non l'avete fatto. Attivate la campanellina così da non perdere i prossimi video. Fatemi sapere nei commenti se questa serie vi piace, se pensate quale sia il vostro assassino. Qua la telecamera qua ormai si è tutta rotta. Insomma, abbiamo un bel po' di cose da visitare. Anzi, prima di salutarvi vi dico, non è che magari il ladro si è nascosto nel sarcofago? Chi lo sa. Va bene, allora noi ci salutiamo qui per questo episodio e ci vediamo sempre qui sul canale con un nuovo video. Un saluto da Mezza Ragaret. Ciao, Elio!